Heads of anti-corruption commissions on the African continent want Western nations to cooperate with governments to end illicit financial flows into their countries. At an ongoing dialogue in Kigali, Rwanda, on how to best recover stolen assets, they've suggested that governments must deal with money laundering and establish public registers of beneficial ownership. They should also make arrangements for the prompt, transparent and accountable return of assets. Let's get more on the story. We cross our correspondent, Sarah Kimani, who is live for us in Kigali. Very good afternoon to you, Sarah. Is that meeting suggesting complicity by Western nations in stashing away hidden African assets abroad?
Indeed, a good afternoon from Kigali. Well, the meeting does not expressly say that the Western nation is playing ball and assisting those who have hidden money abroad to continue keeping the money. It says that there are laws, international laws, that make it very difficult for countries to return money that is stolen in their countries back home in Africa. They also talk about international banks making it very difficult because once a country identifies where money is hidden, then they have to go through a very lengthy process of trying to get the money back. One, the money is frozen, and sometimes these banks, with the help of Western governments, the governments where the banks are domiciled, will then bring other complications of saying, but what if we bring this money back to Africa and it is stolen or it is misappropriated? And this is what African governments are saying. While in the first place, the Western governments did not try to stop this money leaving Africa and going into these Western nations, they have not been very quick to return this money back to the continent where it is needed most. So they want now Western governments to be able to make it easier for African governments to get their money back into Africa.
Sarah, do we know how much money exactly we're referring to here?
Well, we do not know the exact funds, the exact amount of money. The Mbeki panel on illicit financial flows talks about $1.5 billion leaving the continent every year in terms of what they call illicit financial flows. Other estimates by the World Bank indicates that if the money that leaves the continent every year in forms of proceeds of corruption or in form of proceeds of illicit financial flows was to be spent on the continent, then Africa would actually not need external debt or even external donors to assist it. So it is huge amounts of money that we are talking about, even though the figure is not known.
Okay. And are there some success stories where African countries have recovered and returned monies home?
Well, during this meeting, one of the countries that is being touted as a success story in terms of recovering funds is Nigeria. They're talking about Nigeria being able to return at least $400 million money that had been looted by the late military dictator Sani Abacha. And they're saying that money has gone back into Nigeria. And although there are issues with some people in Nigeria saying that that money actually was stolen and did not benefit the country, Nigeria director of the EFCC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, saying that that money indeed has been put in a special fund that deals with social welfare. In Kenya was also mentioned. They have been able to recover money, proceeds of corruption from the Jersey Islands, from the United Kingdom, and they're saying some of that money has been used to purchase ambulances that are now being used in public hospitals across the country. We also have Rwanda, we have South Africa also talking about money that they have been able to recover and that they're using for the development of their country. So indeed, there shows that what is coming out of this meeting is if there is political will in Africa, but also in Western countries, then it is possible that these funds, one, will not leave the continent, but secondly, when they leave and they return to the continent, then they can be used to benefit Africa.
Sarah Kimani giving us a live update from those meetings in Kigali, Rwanda there.